Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I'm your host, John Henson, and this week, totally different kind of episode. I am not usually the type to get all motivational and inspirational and stuff like that. You know, I'm not the Tony Robbins or the Gary Vee type who's, tries to motivate or inspire, in that sort of self-help world. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not who I am. But I was thinking a lot this week about just how we view problems or issues in our business, in our life and everything. And it always was very helpful when I figured this out to remind myself that just because you're constantly facing problems or issues in your business doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative. I think we, for one, when we care enough to be constantly trying to grow our business, or when we get to a certain level where we are working more on our business instead of in our business, we start to see a lot of the issues and, the problems that come up. Maybe you recognize a lot of inconsistencies in your systems and processes, a lot of inefficiencies. And, there are just days where it can seem like your job has just become to sift through one problem after another and fix one broken thing after another. And as a society, we've kind of given a negative connotation to the words like issue or problem or anything. And there's an inspirational quote going around that says, replace the word problem with opportunity in everything in your life. And a lot of people have taken that and run with it to kind of make fun of it. And, like I kind of said in the beginning, like I'm not the type to take inspirational quotes like that and have it change my life. But that in that sort of thinking is what helps us sort of appreciate what we've grown to this point and what we're actually accomplishing on a day-to-day basis. And I'll give you a short little story here. So in my personal life, away from the work that I do with Spotlight Branding and on these podcasts, I have written a lot of books. I think I'm up to like 16, 17 books that I've published, mostly on just like history, nonfiction, but some of those books are travel memoirs, and they basically kind of chronicled my growth into adulthood and sort of how I shaped the way that I think and see the world and all of that. And the most recent travel memoir that I wrote, I talked a lot about depression, and that is something that I deal with in my regular life. And it was something that I wrote about, and I talked a lot about how I have come to sort of approach it and treat things when depression gets a little bit intense for me. And the phrase that I came up with was called Shift the Perspective. And that was the name of the book that I wrote about that. And it sounds exactly like, if you take it at face value. So, whenever depression started to come on and I started to feel bad, I started to feel like a failure, started to feel like, I had made so many mistakes and I was going down the wrong path, just all of the little intrusive thoughts that come with depression. What I would remind myself is just shift the perspective, look at things through a different lens. Shift the way that you approach how you're thinking about things, how you're looking at things. And when I started doing that, it made a huge difference, because it's like, on one hand, I'm dealing with all of these problems every day. I am, at the time, the example that I used in the book, it's just like I'm sitting at Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York, and I'm eating original buffalo wings, where buffalo wings were invented. It's my favorite food. And the intrusive thoughts were like, what if this is the happiest you're ever going to be? And on the other hand, if I shifted my perspective, it's like, look at how far I've come in my life to be able to take this trip, to be able to come and do something that was basically on my bucket list. How much of a blessing is that? And when you start, so when you shift your perspective like that and you recognize that, okay, so yeah, there's problems that I'm dealing with right now in my business, in my personal life, whatever it is. And at that point, if you just shift the way that you're looking at it and approaching it, all of a sudden you see, well, this problem is here because I've gotten this far in my business, right? This problem wouldn't exist if I wasn't making 500,000 in revenue, a million in revenue, whatever the case is. And at that point, it becomes more motivating to tackle that issue because you're realizing the growth and the progress that you've made in building up your business. And for all of you who are running your own firm and who have basically built your business and your law firm or whatever industry you're in from the ground up, that can be a huge kick in the pants for you and a good motivation for you. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you, something that I thought about, and something that I have not really publicly shared with everyone, at least in this audience before. And I just thought it was really helpful for me and in a way to keep me sort of grounded. Especially when I start to feel stressed or overwhelmed or just burned out, because I just feel like I'm getting slapped in the face with problem after issue after problem all day. And when you step back, you shift that perspective and you just kind of realize that none of this would exist without the hard work, without the progress, without the growth that had happened to lead to this point. And then it becomes, like I said, just it becomes motivating to keep pushing forward, to get through, to improve, to deal with, to fix, whatever it is. So look, if you've been feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, I know the pandemic caused a lot of headaches for everybody, but hopefully that's helpful. And that's why, big picture wise, if we kind of zoom in a little bit, we're focused on the marketing aspect of things. That's where we help with that growth. And we solve problems for a lot of attorneys, especially with their marketing and all of that. But maybe we create problems. Maybe we create a bunch of referrals, maybe a huge influx of business that you weren't prepared for. And now you have to adjust your systems and processes to adjust to that and account for that. And so there's so many different directions that it could go. But just to tie it back to that marketing, thing where if you're facing issues, and marketing can be a solution, don't keep beating yourself up. Turn to that solution, give that a chance. And then all of a sudden you'll see that there's just some adjustments that need to be made after that. But at the end of the day, I think the overarching point here is whether you deal with, mental health problems or you're totally well adjusted and you're quote unquote normal, how you approach and view the issues and the problems or the opportunities in front of you, I think goes a long way towards your overall job satisfaction. The last point I'll make here is, attorneys in general have some of the lowest job satisfaction rates, highest depression rates, highest suicide rates, and that sucks. It really sucks. And there are a lot of factors that contribute to that. And my hope is that maybe just recognizing that you can look at things from a different perspective, whether it's short-term or long-term, can maybe make that better to a degree. Regardless of where you're at, I'm happy to talk about it. If you're feeling overwhelmed by any means, I'm happy to talk through issues with you, whether they're marketing related, business related. I'm not an expert by any means, but just getting someone else's opinion, someone else's perspective, maybe can shine a light on something you hadn't thought of yet. And a lot of times, a lot of what people need is just a point in a direction to go. And from there, you can start making some traction and solving some issues. So I know I'm a little bit all over the place on this episode, but I felt like this was something that we hadn't really talked about before and hadn't really gotten like super real with you guys. But I do appreciate all the feedback that we have been getting over the last few weeks. any additional topics that you guys would like me to cover on this show, please feel free to reach out. Always happy to chat with you guys just about anything you've got going on with your law firm and in your business. Like I said, either whether it's marketing related or you have some questions about perhaps, maybe some CRMs that you're thinking about, or, bookkeeping issues, admin issues, whatever it is, if I don't have an answer for you, I can definitely point you in the direction of someone who would have an answer for you. So, like I said, hope, as I say every week, I hope this is helpful and can at least give you a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of direction for something to tackle this week moving forward. So that's going to do it. Continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to check out Center Stage, new episodes every Wednesday. A lot of good guests, a lot of great insight and perspective from other attorneys and industry experts. If you're feeling stuck, Center Stage is a great thing to check out because, we may have covered something that you're struggling with or want some advice on already. And if not, we'll probably be covering it sometime in the future. So definitely be sure to check that out. All right, that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.